Okay. This one is called I Think Someone Stole My Pizza. This is the first poem I wrote for one of these open mics. I'd love to keep sleeping, but Z's I'm all too rich in. From bed I'm able to amble to the mess of the flat kitchen in which the wish of my dreams awaits in the fridge and, as you've surmised from the title, my pizza's gone missing. I'm thinking, each slice should be lying in plain sight. I'm sure I left it for a bit of breakfast in a haze last night. And the notion that it simply flew away will not suffice. I'll track which flatmate is slightly into slight and dice the fucker. Sorry to break the rhyme. I should take a look at what I know before I begin to whine. It's possible the pizza was just a figment of my mind, and the toppings represented the linearity of time, because no matter what I do and no matter how hard I try, the fridge of potential will deny a slice of possibility from my life. And we can all learn something from this savory tale, but I'd really favor the flavor. This whole learning stuff tastes stale. I know somebody stole it. I just need to find the evidence trail, and I'll nail that thief with a rain of hot diss hail. Good job, creep. You've won the pizza lottery. But you've just pissed off the demigod of demagoguery, because I've got a crowd of poetry peeps that belong to me. It won't be long before the angry pizza mob believes he's got to bleed. Except, I'm not really sure which flatmate it was. So, despite the way my blood heat's risen, all I can say is, my pizza's gone missing.
Fantastic. Good evening, you're at Life Skills Patrol, 6 to 8 p.m. every Saturday on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM or online at beagleradio.co.nz. But tonight, it's the weekend. Time to be a hero. Rescue some wine from a bottle or two, or some bourbon, or some beer from a can. In the latest news, 2016 has been such a bad year for many of our favourite musicians that fans have put out an APB on Ozzy Osbourne just in case. Serious consideration has also been given to doing the same for Keith Richards, but people don't really need to worry about him. He's going to live forever anyway. Meanwhile, in more sad music industry news, Kanye West was found in his apartment today, alive and well. Welcome to Life Skills Patrol on 88.1 FM and Beagle Radio, where we ask important questions like, when will I find out whether or not I got that job I applied for 2 years ago? At the age of 46 years, why is life confusing me so much more now than it did when I was 18? I mean, back then I knew everything. And after 4 slices of toast at breakfast, an entire Indian curry plus rice at lunch, and a 3-course dinner, why is my teenager still hungry? So the council says I can light a fire to cook my food on my property as long as the smoke does not drift beyond my property boundaries. I'd like to know, how am I supposed to do that? And why is somebody employed to make up those kinds of rules? And there are so many other more employable people out there who cannot find a job. Well, we're joined tonight by Brett, my co-host for the show. How are you, Brett?
I'm good, and you were nailing this introduction, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Brett. You're very, very kind. You know what, I'm just a little bit concerned because, you know, we've got 2 listeners out there, and I know for a fact that 50% of them are not listening tonight, and the reason is because you're in here.
Oh.
So there's no need to be shy. No one's going to hear us anyway. It'll be all good.
Very well. Yeah, that's good.
So what have you been up to today?
That's a very good question. I guess I put together a Facebook page for my art, and I pet a kitten a little bit because we got a new kitten at our flat. That's pretty much the entire day summed up. This has been very unproductive.
Oh, I don't know. The kitten's very important. You know, all you need is love, and you know, pets are an important part of that. So sounds like you're leading a successful life to me. Right. So, coming up tonight, I've got a big list of things that we're doing. We're engaging identity with a fellow called Rudy Knox, and we're going to figure out how he found his niche in life. We're engaging historical truth with logistical researcher Reg Griffin. We're engaging technology with our computer corner with Adam, who's not here tonight, so it's going to be Brett and I. We're going to be the computer experts. Good luck with that one. Then we'll be engaging affluence. So my co-host here, Brett Rice, is an independent contracting communication artist. We're going to find out what he does and how he does it. We're going to be talking about engaging young people. We have an interview with Gwendolyn Needham, Highwise Leadership. And engaging creativity. We've got an interview with Caro Proctor, creator and director of Crafty People Markets. So we'll be back in just a minute with an interview with Rudy Knox. We're going to find out what he does, how he got to do it, and where this career is taking him to next. We'll be back shortly with Rudy. So 3, 2, 1. Hi, you're back with Life Skills Patrol on Beagle FM 88.1 and radiobeagle.co.nz. You're here with Wayne and Brett, and we're joined by Rudy Cox. Rudy, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Well, you know what? I'm just happy that you're here. Any party without you is no party.
I must miss a lot then. That's all right.
So I believe you're not in Whangarei tonight?
No, I am just. I have some business to do in Auckland, so I'm here for the weekend.
Oh, fantastic. Actually, talking about business, Rudy, what do you do?
I sell businesses. So basically, I'm a real estate agent and facilitate a deal between the buyer and the seller for businesses. So we don't really do the commercial real estate, but actually only the goodwill, the assets of the business, so people can retire and move on in life, I guess.
So how did you get into that? You've got a bit of a story to tell, haven't you?
It's a long story. I can keep it short of the purpose of the radio show.
No, take all night.
It's all right. No, I never really finalized any sort of formal education apart from high school. And I guess in 2003 I took a backpack into New Zealand with 5 pair of underwear, a couple of pair of socks, and this came here. And my plan was to do New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and then go to Ireland. But I never actually left Auckland. And one of the reasons for that was I got a job in the door-to-door sales, and it's not a particular job that you really wake up in the morning and think, oh, today I'm going to find a job in door-to-door sales. But actually I've learned so much in doing that for about 3 years that after I left that job and worked for an employer for a while, I actually started my own business when I approached the boss who, I said to him like, listen, you guys sit in the office all day, every day, waiting for a phone call. Can you please sell my business? And I said, like, why don't you send me up the road? And I asked every single business owner in Auckland whether they thought of selling or they're thinking of selling in the next 18 months. And he was pretty positive. He said, so obviously went for a lead and they asked $50 and it's put something in there. I thought like, $60 is pushing it, but maybe he wants to go down, so I had some room for negotiation. But he actually said yes straight away. So, after a while, I guess I was actually really good at it. I worked about 15 hours a week, and I made about 9 on the back. But I still found that if I were a business broker, actually, I would make more money. So I jumped in there and asked to become a broker, and started there. And I never looked back really.
It didn't happen overnight, though, did it?
No, it did not. Like it was hard craft and door-to-door sales, where I learned a lot of it. In fact, they sent me to Singapore for a 3-week sort of like training boot camp that I had to give to other people. And basically, I had to teach them that it didn't matter what language you spoke or what color of skin you are. It's really about attitude, about your positive energy that you give out when you actually approach someone, and the tone of voice, the body language, eye-to-eye contact. That was my sole job there, and that's really how I learned how to sell myself first. And that was sort of like, I think, the basics of what I learned over the years.
Yeah, because just go back to your door-to-door selling. What were you selling at first? Toys,
giftware, books, anything that the big company in Australia could find and that was cheap enough. We would sell. we would sell. Yeah, we would sell anything.
And I think that just to break that down a little bit, I think you started as a door knocker and you kind of made sales, and I think you progressed up the chain. Didn't you start sort of supervising teams out there on the road?
Yeah. So I started. I thought like I did a job for about 6 weeks and I can get to a better job. After about I think 6 weeks, I had about 4 people on my team. I lost them. I built another team up to about 10, lost them. In the end, I had about 19 guys under me, that I left to start they actually offered then my own office in Dunedin. So I built up from 7 to 17 guys in Dunedin until my son was born. So while you're making plans in the future, life happens. So my son was born, and that sort of like was a catalyst of getting an actual real job in the real world, as we call it, and working for a boss. But I never really liked that.
No.
I'm not the kind of person. I'm not really the kind of person that would work for a boss, really.
I think there's a couple of different kinds that don't like working for the boss. One kind just doesn't like work. The other kind just thinks they can do it better without the boss. I think that's what you are, right?
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And I mean, if you choose to go by yourself, I think it's really important to understand it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be just like, a handout, and you really got to have a good plan and know what you want. I think it's sort of like the biggest thing that people don't really understand most of the time when they start their own business. It is a hard road, and if you really want to make it, you got to make sure you got some capital behind you, and you got to make sure that you sort of like set up not to fail. And if you do fail fast. Don't keep on carrying on the same thing over and over and expect a different result.
I think you hit the nail on the head with the capital, because most businesses go out of business when they run out of money, right? So the idea is to have enough to keep you afloat until your business starts making money.
When I started the business with nothing, with absolutely nothing, I left my job. My wife was really, really upset because obviously now we have a child, and what are you going to do? With the skills I learned in door-to-door sales actually was the door knocking skills. So I could actually go out and sell. Some people start a retail store and they expect people just to come to them because the product is really big. The product is never going to sell itself. It's always the person that brings the product or the service to the client. That's the driver.
So your success is because you were determined to introduce the product to new people who would need it. You know, a lot of people when they come to the door, a lot of salespeople, they're walking the street, they come to a door, they go to enter that door, they hesitate, they talk themselves out of it, they go to the next door hoping the next door will be easier. That's not what you do. How does someone break through that sort of anxiety? You get to the door and then you hesitate. What makes you go through it?
Well, I think it's determination. In door-to-door sales, when people would go with toys and gifts or different products to one area, and they would come back and they didn't make any sales, my job was to go out the next day with the same products, go to the same area, take 2 new people with me, and show those people that the previous people the day before with the same products, with just different attitude, didn't make any money. So when there was doors and it says no hawkers or doors like no salespeople, please, we would go in because we knew the people before us would never have gone in there, and often they weren't in there for years or months. So you would make a killing. It's awesome.
and some new friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can teach someone, if you have the skill to teach someone, like I told you, I think once before, that my goal in life is, if I just leave this earth with 1 millionaire made just because of the attitude I could change when they were sort of young enough, they were unskilled, then hey, and I can teach them how to fish for themselves and actually make money for themselves. My job is done. Like I'm happy. That's my goal in life.
And I don't think someone like you is ever going to be without work, because your approach is completely different. So many people, when they're looking for a job, they're trying to find the right job for them. It's all about them and the job that they want and the things and the package that they want. It strikes me that your approach is the complete reverse. You come in from an attitude of, what can I give to make this better? How can I improve this? Would that be fair?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I think it's sort of like a Dutch heritage. Dutch people are well known for hard workers, don't give up, and it needs to be done. So just go out there and do it. There's no ifs or buts. Just get on with it.
Cool. Now, there was 0800 errands. Where does that come in? Is that what happened after you left your job?
So that happened after I left my job, and that was 2009. So that was middle of the recession. People were laying off people, so I thought, hey, if I just knock on a door and ask for sort of like $25 an hour, then I can do whatever people want. So you say jump, I ask how high. I would do cleaning, I would do filing, I would do just cleaning up the yard and trim your hedge, just whatever needed to be done. So every day was different. That's what I loved about that job. There's none the same days twice. Absolutely, not even twice in the 3 years.
Now that's when I was lucky enough to meet you, right? That's when we started the BNI Business Network International chapter in Birkenhead.
Yep, correct.
Right. So Business Network International, they're worldwide, but every area, and this was in Birkenhead, has a little chapter, and you have one real estate agent, and you have one banker, and you might have one lawn mowing contractor, and everybody basically refers business to each other and brings new guests along, new blood. And I think you were one of the kings of that craft, weren't you?
Yep, correct.
So you saw the BNI breakfast meetings as an opportunity to help the business people you meet every day to grow their business. So you invited them along, and phenomenally successful.
Yep, that was it. Like, it's BNI for me. Networking is always the best way to get your name out there. If you don't have startup capital at all, start at BNI.
Because the capital there is the business network.
Well, when I went to my first meeting, I walked away with $600 worth of business, and it never stopped. I had always enough work because I thought about what I was going to say. I did my homework on, hey, who can I actually target my pitch to every week with a different person? So it really sort of like, don't just walk up and expect leads or expect work out of it, but hey, give again. So you give and you try and help other people, you will get leads from there. And they will, as long as they like you, it's selling yourself first.
And I love your philosophy, givers gain, that BNI attitude. So then because you were doing so well on 0800 errands, you talked to the franchise owner of Link, and you said, hey, you know what, I'm pretty good door to door. I could probably find out which businesses in Auckland are for sale. He agreed to pay you for the leads. And then what happened?
Well, I had no money, so I started from scratch virtually again. And so I got my real estate papers within 10 weeks. Usually it does take about 3 or 4 months. I did it a bit quicker because I wanted it. I was really motivated. Then I had, through BNI, I had 3 really good listings, but I didn't sell anything for 9 months. And that was sort of like, again, the entrepreneurial choice that you made. It's like no money lived for. Even my son, like if he wanted an ice cream, even $1 ice cream, I'd never had money for an ice cream. So it took 9 months again to actually get to where I wanted to be. But from there on, it got easier over time. So now I'm doing it for about 3 years, and I love what I do. So I probably won't even work a day in my life just because I love it.
Wow. Hey, that's cool. So you'll never work a day in your life because it feels like too much fun.
Yeah, it's something you have to do, and it sometimes feels like chores because they really feel, oh, you know, there's a meeting and I really want to spend time with the kids. But if you love what you do, as the proverbial said, like, hey, if you love what you do, you never go to work another day in your life. And I think that's so true. And I never took a job, or I never actually took a boss that I didn't like. I always liked the people I worked for, and that was for me, I think, the key to find my passion, because I really try to enjoy my work.
And you certainly are a guy that knows how to have fun. I enjoy your company immensely. So, okay, so now you're selling businesses and you've moved to Whangarei and you're selling Northland businesses. How's that going?
Good. Again, like the first 9 months in Auckland, being a bit focused, it takes time to get your name out. So it's sort of like the cash flow is reasonably low. But on the other hand, like I meet so many new people because it gives me time to cold call, it gives me time to network, like with you guys on Tuesday mornings, and really just get out there and get to know the market again. And I got time on my side. I mean, most business brokers, you can understand, like start when they're 55 or 50 after they have a really big corporate career. And I started when I was 35. So as long as I keep my attitude and as long as I keep my views and my goals in life, I know I will do well. That's just what door-to-door sales has taught me over the years.
So now tell me about your networking group that you're part of in Whangarei that meets on a Tuesday.
Yep. So that's Northland Referral Group. They there's about now I think there's about 15 or 17 regulars that come every Tuesday. It is sort of like a sign-up process. So that we again like the BNR groups or other network groups, we only have for example one real estate agent, we have one lawyer, we have a graphical designer, we have a printer, and so there's about 17 of us that come every single week. It's actually very good value for money. I think it's about $100 a year to sign up. So again, like if you have a decent business, or even you're a one-man band and you just feel a bit lonely in your entrepreneurship, and go to work every day by yourself, that is sort of like one of the best groups I think you can join in Hungary.
I would agree with you. I often, so most people know, but I train people to find employment, and a lot of time people that come to my courses will say, oh, whangarei, it's not what you know, it's who you know, it's not fair. And my response to that is, great, let's go meet some employers. And NRG it's like it sounds, it's got lots of energy, right? And it's just the perfect place to meet people.
Yep, and I look forward to that for Tuesday morning. You know, like even now it's a long weekend, but I look forward to Tuesday because I think keep in touch with people that I saw last week, and I'm following up some leads that I got last week. So it's a really, like I said, like sometimes being in business can be quite lonely, even though you have staff. They will never understand how business owners feel, and I think that's sort of like the best place to connect with peers and connect with people who are in that same sort of Hungary area or any geographical area for that matter.
Absolutely agree. Now, so you're part of NRG, you're selling businesses in Whangarei, and further north. Where can you see the business brokerage taking you? Where do you want to, what direction are you headed in?
Man, I started when I was 35. The last person that retired in our LLC office, and I was just leaving there, he retired next year, and he's a legend in the industry. He retired when he was 82. So I have probably had 30 odd years to go before I retire. But like I said, like it's something you can do until you are 82 or whatever, like at least till like 75. I really, my goal in life is teach my sons about business. So the ultimate goal for me would be having first choice. If a business comes to market that I really like, I can see my sons doing well in, I would want to buy it for them when they're sort of like 18, 19. So they learn about it. I think that the days of employment could be well changing, or I wouldn't say over, but it wouldn't be long before people really understand more the value of choosing your own time, and why would you go into a factory job if you can actually do something and use your skills a lot better.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think employment is changing. I think the days of having a job for life are gone. If you want a career, then you kind of need to make your own, build your own. And if you want a job, well, you'll be looking for a new one every 2 or 3 years, and it won't necessarily be an upward trajectory, will it?
And that was, I think, the catalyst for me to leave my job. I was working as a business consultant for a big company and in auctions, and I just hated to go into the office of the boss and say, oh, you know, my son is chicken box in a please pick it up his food. It doesn't suit me. It doesn't suit my personality. It goes against every grain in my body to actually ask for permission if I can look after my son, because he deserves it, you know.
So you took control?
Well, I was homeless for 10 days with my son because he had chickenpox. And in that 10 days, I made a whole business plan for Odam Parents. So that's actually how I started that whole company, because I had plenty of time on my hands. My son was sick and he was sleeping most of the time anyway. So I just 10 days is all it took for me to put it out there.
Well, you like to work hard and you like to work quick, don't you?
Oh, I make decisions just like that, because I never really regret what I do, because there was a time that I actually really, I felt good about it. So why regret? anything really the choice you made, like it must have been a good choice when you thought about it first time. So yeah.
Of course, that makes a lot of sense. So, if there was someone out there that's struggling, can't see where they can, you know, take what's the next step, they can't, you know, what's the number one piece of advice you would give to somebody looking for success? What do they need to do?
Do not learn about the type of job you do. As long as you learn something, as long as you can upskill and use that for the next sort of job, it's worth giving 100%. It's just, I mean, I have people in door-to-door sales, and I worked with years ago. I left the company in 2007, I think. So over 10 years, I still have really good friends. They all got their own way, and they all got their like one was studying again, and some was just normal jobs. And none of us would ever do door-to-door sales again. But none of us would actually not have done it. So that says a lot about like what we learned and what is the, some people call it brainwashing. I call it university for the University of Hard Knocks. It's just like you learn how to maintain your attitude, be positive, and that will get you somewhere. Tell yourself first. But the most important part is like as long as you do something and you see that going somewhere else into something that you probably like more, or if there is more money, if money is really important to you, that's for me the number one tip I could give you. Just as long as you can use it later on, it's worth doing it, and 100%.
Fantastic. As usual, just an absolute pleasure, Rudy. Stay with us. So you're with Beagle Radio. If you want to contact the station manager, please email info@beagleradio.co.nz. Requests for music can be made through the website www.beagleradio.co.nz, or you can email requests to bark@beagleradio.co.nz. You can also Skype us on beagle.radio881, and of course you can listen to us on 88.1 FM around Whangarei. We'll be back in a moment. You're with Life Skills Patrol on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM. We're joined now by Reg Griffin, who is a logistical researcher, and we're going to talk about history. Reg, are you there? Great. So, Reg, do you want to talk to us a little bit about how this all started?
Oh yes. We'll talk about the Maori myths. That was the first one I was interested in. They said the sun was going too fast across the sky, and the Maori and his brothers lassoed the sun and climbed up and gave it a hiding. Well, that's a myth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a myth is only a myth because they didn't have science, and they could only explain with magic and superstition, and that's what a myth is. So that's all over the world, and there's lots of places in the Bible that have that myth as well, like the sun stopped, and or Joshua, and it just kept snowballing, and it just kept going and going. Every day I'd come back with a new logistics tweak on something, and there was the answer. So I just started writing it down, and I ended up writing a book which got winner in medicine and science 2 years in a row in the States, and on the third year I got Editor's Choice, and it's about to hit the New Zealand market now.
So this is Sun God.
Yeah, Sun God, the most probable theory of our time, by Reg Griffin.
And I remember talking to you about this book, it must have been almost 10 years ago.
Yes.
And essentially, so what you did was all of these myths and legends were around, and I guess you just thought, well, okay, these myths and legends describe things that actually happened. They couldn't explain the physics behind it, so they turned it into a myth or a legend. And what you did was you came along and you just applied logic to the myth and unraveled a lot of mysteries.
That's right. Well, all the myths, I know what they're saying.
Well, how would you explain the passage of time? I mean, you can explain global warming and all sorts of things. Where would you begin to unravel this complex puzzle?
Well, I figured that if the sun was going too fast across the sky for the Maoris, that doesn't happen because the sun doesn't go across the sky. the world turns. So logistics has to take over then. So if Earth was circling the sun much closer than it is now, they would have a 3-hour day, 3-hour night, 3-month year. So that's why all these people in the past, even in the Bible, lived for 1,000 years and then it slowly comes down 1,000, 900, 800, 700, 600, and that's actually Earth leaving the sun, doing a bigger orbit as we go out. And so that's why we're down to 85, I think, now is the natural average age for men to live.
So you're saying that as the orbit around the sun, as our orbit gets further away from the sun, the years get longer, and therefore we don't live as long, apparently.
That's right. That's a big question for a lot of people, and they don't quite understand.
So you got Moses that lived for 900 years. You're saying that's because the Earth was orbiting closer to the sun, so it went around the sun a lot quicker, so a year was shorter. Yep.
Methuselah lived for 969.
So the
And that's
value
all
of
in
the
writing,
year
and
is
that's
going
in the
down.
Bible.
The year is getting shorter
Yes.
because we're closer to the sun. So what else have you discovered?
Oh, there's lots and lots and lots of things. Well, they keep saying silly things like the ozone, not the ozone hole. The ozone hole is actually happens when Earth goes out. It's spinning slower. So when we're close to the sun, it's spinning 4 times faster and orbiting the sun 10 times faster than what we are. So, but as we go out, the world starts turning slower and slower and slower and slower. And in the 17th century, we had a mini ice age. So now I'm thinking, well, what happened there? Obviously, the world was turning too slow because of the bigger circle. And what happened was we lost our ozone. The ozone went out, right out into space, and on the other side, closest to the sun, popped open and let in extra light. Now that extra light can't go through ozone. So it's coming in the hole, and once it's in, it hits Earth, and bounces up and hits the ozone above it, and bounces back. So the ozone hole is letting all this light in, and it can't get out. It's bouncing around. And luckily for us, we'd be frozen otherwise.
Is that making the Earth warmer?
Yeah.
So you're saying if the hole didn't appear,
Yeah.
then the heat wouldn't get through, and because Earth is orbiting further out from the sun, it would be too cold for us. We'd have an ice age. But because of that hole in the ozone layer, we're able to sunbathe in the summer.
That's right. You got it. So it's so easy. It's so easy. And now when we and when I had to concentrate on being aware of something that's going to happen, and it happened in the year 2000, and they said that all the planets lined up with the sun in the year 2000, and I thought that's it. So then I finished my book, and we're going back, and the scientists still don't understand that. They say that the whole universe is going away. We're going to be left here alone. The universe and the Earth were moving away from the sun, but suddenly Earth is now going back, and they've attributed that to the universe picking up speed and going away. We're going to be left alone, but it's not. We are going back now to the sun, and so the distance between the universe and us is getting further and further apart.
So the universe isn't the one that's moving, we are.
Oh, no, the universe is moving, but
Right.
we were going as well.
Right.
But now we've stopped going, now we're coming back to the sun.
So you're saying that a lot of global warming and a lot of crisis that people are so concerned about is actually a natural rhythm?
That's right, it happens. Well, one of the latest things that I discovered was in the pyramid, there's writing in the pyramid, the big one, and it says, "We have seen 5 sons die, this is the 6th son." Now, isn't that so interesting? Logic has to come in here. Now, what do they mean by that? It simply means that when we're close to the sun, we get the 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine, and plenty means plenty of rain, plenty of sun, plenty of food. But when we go closer, we get 7 years of famine, which means all sun, no rain. So we got no food. So, and then we pick up speed and the planets all line up. And as they line up, they're swinging around and pulling at the sun in one spot. Now, being all in line and going faster and faster and faster to get around, we lived for 900, we had lived up to 969 as the longest. Oh, I found one older than Methuselah, and that was a Japanese man. He was 1,020 years old, and that's in writing over there. So the Japanese people tell me, they wanted the same thing. How can you live that long? Anyway, they're in line and they're going faster and faster, and each time they go a little bit closer, the circle gets smaller. So it's going faster and faster, and suddenly the weight of all the planets swinging around the sun overcomes the sun's pull. So what happens is we pull a lump out of the sun, and that comes firing out of the sun as all the planets leave. And when Mercury comes around, the last one, they suffer the most problem, or that suffers the most problem, because that's the last one in line, and that lump we pulled out of the sun is coming. And it hits Mercury, smash, because it's all liquid there, and that sticks. A lot of it sticks, so it's building a planet there. All the planets come out of the sun. Wow, what a revelation that gave me. All the planets come out of the sun, so it's building a planet. Every time we do that, the closest planet keeps building, and we do it again, and it's building more and more. And when it builds up a certain weight, the whole lot slip away and start another one. So we're going to pull our sun to bits. So we've got a long way to go here.
So you're saying then that Earth has not always been in the orbit it is in?
That's right. And Mars was once here. And remember me when we find out, when they go there and they find evidence of man being on there. You betcha, there is.
Fantastic. So how did you sort of get to do this? You just started studying the myths, because I mean this was not your profession, it was your passion, right? Because I remember when I first met you, a highly exciting and intelligent man. When I first met you, it was because I wanted to save fuel in my car, and you had a brilliant idea. Remember that?
You can still do it. You can still do it, but you see, in the older days, in the cars that they had soft valve seats, and the carbon would sit on that valve seat or was going through, but the valve can't crunch it, and it would damage the valve seat. So you're always grinding blimmin' valves. But now they've got harder metal there. But after 5 years, I lifted the head off my car, and sparkling clean. Nothing there,
no damage at all.
whatsoever. And so I didn't need to take it off to have a look. I should have known, because it gets steam clean, you see.
So
What happens is the petrol burns, and it boils the water, so it turns to steam. So your engine is half petrol and half water.
So you're talking about your water injection system here, aren't you?
Yeah.
And
It's
so
not induction really. I use the same injection, but it's not really injection, it's induction.
right,
That's the word, it's sucking it in, it's not being injected in.
right.
The piston sucks the water in.
So professionally, you were a baker.
Yes, I'm a baker. Been there for 22 years or something.
But passion-wise, you're interested in how things work and why they work and how you can make them better and how you can understand them.
Oh, I've done so many things, you know. The companies that I've worked for, they're going to do this and do that, and it's going to cost thousands. I said, and the end result is what are you looking for? And they said this, and I said, you don't have to do that. You do this, this, and this, and that'll do the same thing. So I've done that all my life.
And so this, how long have you been working on this interplanetary logistics project?
I started in the year 1973. I had about half of it done, half of the book. So I've been writing down things that I figured out myself with logistics, and I just take a note. And then I just started come home and write them down. And my grandson was funny. He read it. He read it every day, sort of thing. And he said, "I'm going to do what you've done, Granddad." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "I'm going to be a scientist." And I said, "Oh, are you?" And he said, "What for what purpose?" He said, "I'm going to get people work on how to make people live longer." And but he has to learn a lot of the basic stuff before he can do what he wants. And anyway, he's invented an apple that is red in the middle, and it's got a higher food value. And it's about to hit the market here soon, so that's good, isn't it?
So it's
He's done something.
So it's in the genes. So
Yeah, it is now. Yeah.
So the Earth is moving in and out of a shorter and bigger orbit around the Sun. You're saying
it's 1,000 years out and 1,000 years back, and that's 20 generations of people, isn't it?
Yep. And at some point now, what else do you explain in your book? Because I know I've read it. There is a lot. Tell me some of the other things. You explain the Egyptian pyramid. You explain why the sun changes direction.
Well, the Egyptian pyramid is 7 years of famine. Now, they knew how an oasis works. And an oasis in the desert, it's just a pool of water there. It doesn't rain there, so why is the water there? What it is the sun heats the ground, and the ground has got a lot of rock in it, and the heat goes down the rock and hits an underground water table, underground river. And when water gets hot, it expands and it comes to the surface, and that's how an oasis works. So that's what the pyramids were built to do, raise the water.
They're a desert well.
You can understand, pardon?
They're a form of, they're a method of getting water in the desert.
That's right.
So how does that work?
Right, because there's an underground river there. See, you know the river, the Nile, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Nile. Okay, well, the surface water is only on the surface, but it's right down deep as well. So elephants know they can go to a dry bed and dig a hole, walk away and come back and it'll fill up with water. They know what they're doing.
That's fantastic. So the pyramid is...
What happens is the river can't move quickly enough to get away. So therefore it builds up and up and up and then comes to the surface, and now it can go far.
So the
It's
pyramid...
always draining. Pardon?
Yeah.
So that's what the pyramids are built for. And of course, when we're spinning 4 times faster, everything on Earth is 4 times lighter. So a block of rock that was 12 tons is only 3 tons. That's how they built the pyramid so easy, and that's what's fooling everybody. How did they lift 12 tons by towing them? Can't do it. Can't do it is no. They can do it if the world is spinning 4 times faster.
The rock is lighter.
Yes, because all the rock's much lighter.
So there's one thing that I wanted to ask you, is they say the dinosaurs lived for 60 million years. If the process is a 20,000 year process...
No, wait a minute, they didn't live for that long.
They didn't?
They were, when they were big, seeming the world is turning 4 times, spinning 4 times faster and whipping around 10 times faster than around the sun than what we are. What happens to weight when the world is spinning 4 times faster? Obviously, everything on this earth is 4 times lighter. So we needed weight to stay on the ground. That's why the dinosaurs are that big. And they didn't grunt around trying to carry all that weight. They were running just normal. They just had to be that weight to stay on the ground. Men grow to 20 feet high. Dinosaurs grow to that high. And 72 tons. The biggest dinosaur they found was estimated to weigh 72 tons. You bring a 72-ton dinosaur here and it'll try and make it walk. It'll fall flat back there. Can't do it. It's too heavy. You only need to be heavy when we were close to the sun. Well, by the way, when I got my book read by law and everything, and got the copyright worked out, and he reads at night and signs at night time. Yeah, I got my own copyright with my book, and I hold that. And he said to me, when he read that, he says, you know what, my brother, this is an Englishman here in New Zealand, my brother, and he was English, my brother was with those students when they found the rat 3 feet high. And that gave me a bit of a start. I thought, what? 3 feet high? I wouldn't like to meet one of them. But then I suddenly realised everything goes up in weight, right?
So people would have been
stay
bigger.
on the ground, yeah, because they're spinning 4 times faster. So the rat goes up, so does the man. So it stays in the same proportion, see? And they've got birds that are flying around with the big beaks and the narrow wings, these ancient birds that fly around. Scientists are saying that those birds are too heavy, they can't fly. This is what they would weigh. But no, they don't weigh that much at all, because everything is 4 times lighter there, and they don't need all that effort to fly, because they're 4 times lighter anyway.
So your logistics explain an awful lot. Where do you see this study going? Where is it taking you? What's happening next for you, Reg?
The next thing for me to do is get it out there. I had to hold my book back because I didn't quite have it together with how far it would go out. And in the year 2000, I had well over half my book ready, but I had to hold it back and wait until I could see something or read something that would tell me how far we're going to go out. And when it was all the planets lined up in the year 2000, I thought, oh, that's it. They line up out there and they line up back to close to the sun. So now you can see why. I figured out close to the sun what happened, all in line. That's how they get away. So when it happened out there, I recognised it, and it's 1,000 years, because we lived for 1,000 years.
That's fantastic. You know, Reg, I could talk to you all night. We're starting to run out of time, though. Next time I'm in Auckland, I'm definitely going to stop by and say hi.
I've got you. I would totally be interested if you did. But I'll tell you one more thing. They're saying that all this water melting into the sea is going to raise the water level. You with me?
Yeah.
Well, it won't raise the water level to any great degree. It will start to. But what happens is the world is going to pick up speed, and all the deep water out there in the ocean is going to bulge outwards and pull all the water away from the land.
So you say that, well, as there's more water on the surface of the planet, we may actually end up with a little bit more land, because the speed the Earth is spinning will bulge the water out at its deepest points.
That's right. So islands in the middle where it's really, really deep water, they're going to disappear. But in saying that, in the South Island, right close to shore, where they go and see the whales down there, come into deep dives, and that's very deep there. So we're pretty close to a deep area, aren't we? So I think New Zealand's going to go underwater.
Well, but sure.
It's 1,000 years to go. Nothing for much for us to worry about.
Right. So something else. What do you make of the Christchurch and the Wellington earthquake situation?
Well, the world's picking up speed, so that makes all the land mass move quicker. So the faster we spin, the faster the land picks up speed, or it's putting lots of pressure on at the moment, and it's all starting to go. I gave it until the year 2020 before we would notice, but it happened a lot earlier. And actually, at work, when Japan had that big tsunami, it didn't happen in Japan, it happened somewhere in the sea, and some earth moved underneath the water and caused that tsunami. But everybody was asking me at work what's happening, and I told them that Christchurch is on the same place as Australia, and Australia is the fastest moving continent in the world. So we are going to show first. So look out for what happened is it moved. Now, Christchurch itself is a peninsula, and that peninsula has hit something underground, and the whole of the South Island was under a lot of pressure to move north, and of course it did move. And the last thing that I heard about the Christchurch thing when the earthquake happened was 2 new cracks on the northern side of the peninsula. It's going to break off. it's going to be what did my brother call it? Christchurch Island.
Crash. Okay, so get out of there.
Yeah, get out of there. Get off that peninsula anyway. But these things are going to happen slowly. But as it goes on, it's going to get more and more vicious because the world is picking up speed. So we can't stop that.
So, Reg, I mean, this is fantastic. How does someone find out more about your theories and your explanation of what's happening?
The best thing to do is to go to www.lulu.com, and they are a well-known you can publish your own book there. And I published my own book, and they just give you the steps to do, and then when you follow those steps, you're now published. Yeah, so I hold the copyright, you see, by doing that. And if you go there, you just ask for lulu.com, and then you ask for medicine and science, and that goes there, and then you ask for Sun God, the most probable theory of our time by Reed Griffin. And you'll see the book there, and an e-book as well. So they have it all covered.
Okay, so that's great. And then I understand you're also going to be giving some speeches on your book.
Well, I'm just getting into that now. I do some seminars, just trying to organise it, and I've got to watch what I say when I start. So I've got to concentrate on that hard, so that I can lead them into it quietly. If I just drop it on them, there are some people who get very empty immediately. They don't want to hear anymore, and it's as if they're frightened or something. I don't know. They don't want to talk. But the others, it just get overwhelmed with people who say, "Well, that's explained a lot. I wanted that as well." Everybody's been wondering something, but I just kept on accumulating until I got enough to write a book with.
Well, I want to stay in touch with you a little bit closer, Reg, because than we have done. We sort of have had a distant communication, but next time you're having a seminar in one of these areas, I'd love to know about it so I can let people know. Now, the other thing, you did allude to this earlier. Your work has all been scientifically evaluated. Scientists have had a look at what you've done, and what's the opinion from the scientific community?
The science community, I get in touch with. I don't think I should start naming names because I haven't asked their permission. But in the Auckland University, he said to me, "Amazing, good stuff." And this is his area, because that's why I asked for him. And told him, and I gave him a book, and he said, "Well, it's still, your book is relevant. It's relevant today. It's going to stay relevant." So he believes in my book.
I believe in your book too, Reg. You know what, folks, you need to get to lulu.com and have a look at this book, Sun God, the Most Probable Theory of Our Time by Reg Griffin. Very clever guy. Look, I'm no scientist. It might be 100% correct, it might be 50% correct, but I guarantee you 100% it would change your ideas on this world, and it'll change everything. It'll change your politics, it'll change your thinking on climate change, it'll challenge you.
It's nothing, the climate problem has nothing to do with us. It's just that the Earth was turning too slow and the whole popped over and let in extra light, and that's what's keeping us warm. We've gone out 300 years since it's opened, 17th century. So you can imagine how cold we would be now if that hole wasn't open.
That hole has saved us from an ice age. So
yeah, that's right. So what's happening is we're going back, but when we get back there, we will be turning into the 17th century position, 300 years to go. That will be turning fast enough to pull the ozone bag again, then we're back to normal.
Well, Reg, I'd like to speak to you again in the future. I'd like to come and see you in Auckland next time I'm there. I'd like to keep in touch with you so I can let folks know when your seminars are so they can attend. I want to thank you for your time tonight and wish you well, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Fine. It's okay, mate. I appreciate you calling.
Cheers, Reg.
Thank you, mate. Ta.
So you're with Life Skills Patrol on Beagle Radio 88.1 FM. Just to remind you, this is Beagle. If you want to contact the station manager, please email info@beagleradio.co.nz. Any requests can be made through the website www.beagleradio.co.nz, or you can email requests to bart@beagleradio.co.nz, or you can Skype us, beagle.radio881. Coming up, we're engaging artisticness with an interview with Brett Rise, my co-presenter for tonight. Fantastic digital artist and animator. Brett, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
So, what is it that you do?
Well, I do quite a lot of things. I'm an animator. I draw pictures. I guess it would be easiest to say I'm a digital artist. I make graphics that, on a computer. So I guess that would count. That would be like logos. Mostly I'm good at character drawing.
Characters? Any particular characters?
Well, when I mean character drawings, rather than say a landscape, I'd be good at drawing like a person or a cat or a dog, I don't know.
Or a bear?
Yeah, or a bear.
or a bear surfing on a boat?
That's definitely possible.
So how did you get into art? Where did this come about?
Well, I suppose my older brother did a lot of art. Well, he's an artist as well, and so I guess I kind of just wanted to do what he was doing because he's my older brother, and now we're just both artists pretty much.
Wow. So what is it that you'd like to do with your art? You've done a lot of projects. You've done a lot of animation. Tell us a little bit about your experience so far.
Well, okay, I think the main thing I want to be able to do with animation and drawing and all these skills is, well, I'm just really passionate about storytelling and media, and ultimately I'd like to be making my own, cartoons or animated series or whatever. But in the meantime, I'm trying to get started, just kind of doing art by commission for people in Whangarei, so I could draw you a new logo, or could try and that sentence just flew into a wall right there.
It happens on live radio all the time, probably more often than anyone would care to admit.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So we have been out visiting a couple of businesses that could use your kind of expertise. We've been round to some sign writers. We've been round to some web designers. We went round to a very well-known creative organisation on Friday, didn't we?
We did. Been trying to, I guess, put myself out there a bit. I have already been doing a little bit of work with, I've worked with Channel North, Whangarei Hospital, a lot of stuff with Whangarei Youth Space. So I've kind of begun, at least. So that's nice.
Yeah, tell us about, I saw one of the youth space animations that you did. What was the story behind that?
So a while ago, well, maybe it's still going, I don't even know, but Whangarei Youth Space and just kind of youth groups around Northern have been doing this anti-bullying campaign called Tutor Whangarei or something like that. And so a while ago, like last year, they got a bunch of different youth groups to all make short films about bullying or well, just stuff in that general topic. And so one of the groups came to me to because they wanted to do an animated cartoon. So the rest are all like live action filmed videos. Well, our one was an animation, and so basically what it was is we had three I'm not even gonna try and
It's LGBT.
Yeah.
LGBT.
LGBT. We had
I should know. Michelle, if she was here, would crucify me.
no.
I'm sorry, Michelle. LGBT.
Yes, Z would indeed.
Z would. Oh, see?
Now screw up the pronouns. Anyway, look, the important thing is the animation or the cartoon is basically about the stories of these three people coming out as being either gay or asexual or what was the other one?
Bye?
Wait, no, it was pansexual, homosexual, and also agender, which is when you don't identify as a male or a female.
Androgynous?
Yeah, that also works.
Michelle, if you're listening, that's a point to me. I got that one.
Androgynous.
Androgynous?
So they kind of just recorded themselves talking about their experiences, and I drew a little cartoon to go along with their experiences. And all they gave me was basically just the audio of them talking, and so I had to kind of transform it into, I had to try and convey what they were trying to get at, which is cool. I think the cool thing about making things for other people is that you're trying to translate their imagination into something tangible, because I think that's the power that an artist has, to have an idea and to make it into a physical thing that other people can see and understand rather than as a concept in your head.
Yeah, and you're really good at this, Brett. You will listen to someone, you'll hear their ideas, you'll figure out the message that they're trying to translate, and you'll come up with a piece of art that gives them their voice. You know, it can take someone 2 or 3 minutes to explain something, and you provide an illustration, and boom, there's a message, crystal clear. You're very good at it.
Well, it's like they say, a picture says 1,000 words, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, people are very visual. It's obviously a much more efficient way to get an idea across. Well, the thing is, like, ideas are they're very intangible. It can be really hard to describe how you're feeling or what you want, because I guess words are very rigid in comparison to these more conceptual emotions. And I guess an image gives an impression of something more so than words. Words are more like trying to put order into something that doesn't really have it. So I guess that's probably why images work.
No, you're very good at it. All right, so where do you see art taking you, ultimately?
I'm really, like, I don't spend that much time thinking about, where I'm going to be in 10 years or whatever, because I'm pretty happy just to enjoy what I currently have and have faith that I will eventually become a better person and be enjoying something else in the future. Though, I mean, so I guess I just have the rather non-specific goal of being able to tell my own stories in whatever medium I want to and not have no money. I guess that's about it.
Yeah, that's a biggie. Now, you have got a Facebook page up. How can people engage with what you're doing? How can people have a look at your work and see for themselves what we're talking about?
Yeah, I put a Facebook page up just today, a couple of hours ago. It's called All Sorts of Brett, and basically it's going to be my portfolio where I post my videos, my drawings, past work I've done for clients. If you want to contact me to get some graphics done for your website or whatever, that's a good place to contact me. I guess I'll also be posting things that aren't necessarily drawings, like I might be posting some of my poetry or prose or something like that, because, I do a lot of stuff, hence the title, All Sorts of Brett.
So tell me about the poetry.
Yeah, so about halfway through last year at some point, I started getting into spoken word poetry. I was actually part of this whole Tutola Whangarei thing. I saw this very talented poet called Vincent Nathan do a poem about bullying, and I thought it was really powerful, so he told me to start going to these open mic nights that happen every second Wednesday of the month at Butter Factory. So I've been going to those, and it's pretty cool. You just step up and you say a poem at people. It's a bit different from, I was never really into poetry for most of my life. I guess I'm still not that really into written poetry, but I guess it's what I was talking about before, where an image can give you an impression of something, which is, words can do that as well, but not as much. So when you watch somebody perform their poem, you really get an impression of what it's supposed to mean, or how it's meant to come off, or who the person is that is saying this. And so, like, I've noticed that everybody has kind of their own style. It's really interesting.
What's that? Every second? Sorry, when does that happen? At the Butter Factory?
Every second Wednesday of the month. So the second Wednesday that happens every month is when it's on.
Right. Okay.
It's called Dirty Word Open Mic Night. So you can probably just type that into the Facebook search, and it'll let you know when that's on.
Well, do you have any poetry you can recall?
I can try and remember one. I normally read from a piece of paper, but I'll see how far I can get into one before it immediately goes off the rail.
Oh, give it a go.
Okay. This one is called, I think Someone Stole My Pizza. This is the first poem I wrote for one of these open mics. I'd love to keep sleeping, but Z's I'm all too rich in. From bed I'm able to amble to the mess of the flat kitchen in which the wish of my dreams awaits in the fridge and, as you've surmised from the title, my pizza's gone missing. I'm thinking, each slice should be lying in plain sight. I'm sure I left it for a bit of breakfast in a haze last night. And the notion that it simply flew away will not suffice. I'll track which flatmate is slightly into slight and dice the fucker. Sorry to break the rhyme. I should take a look at what I know before I begin to whine. It's possible the pizza was just a figment of my mind, and the toppings represented the linearity of time, because no matter what I do and no matter how hard I try, the fridge of potential will deny a slice of possibility from my life. And we can all learn something from this savory tale, but I'd really favor the flavor. This whole learning stuff tastes stale. I know somebody stole it. I just need to find the evidence trail, and I'll nail that thief with a rain of hot hail. Good job, creep. You've won the pizza lottery. But you've just pissed off the demigod of demagoguery, because I've got a crowd of poetry peeps that belong to me. It won't be long before the angry pizza mob believes he's got to bleed. Except, I'm not really sure which flatmate it was. So, despite the way my blood heat's risen, all I can say is my pizza's gone missing.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, boy. And you do this second Wednesday of every month at the Butter Factory.
Yeah, so I've built up a pretty decent catalog now, and they're pretty much all stupid, like that one. I've got probably about 4 poems that are about food in some way. It seems to be the easiest thing to write about.
It's probably one of the most impassioning things to create with when you're hungry, huh?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I think a lot of people turned off of poetry because it's hard to it's not that accessible. Like, you can go to a poetry night and people will just start talking about the deepest, darkest secrets of their past or something, and like that stuff's really cool and really important. But like, if you're going to something like this for the first time, it's like, wow, this is really overwhelming. This is so much passion, maybe too much. I try and provide a bit of balance by making things a bit light as well. So because like there are lots of people who are doing really dark and serious material. I've been trying to make some of my poems more metaphors for deeper things, even though I'm talking about
pizza.
Yeah, pizza or nut bars or something. But you know, generally it's pretty silly.
Oh, fantastic. And man, the poetry is good and the art's even better, so that's saying something. Well, we're just hitting 7:27. This is Beagle. If you want to contact the station manager and complain about Brett and I, the email is info@beagleradio.co.nz. Requests for music that we don't play on this show can go through the website www.beagleradio.co.nz, or you can email them to bark@beagleradio.co.nz, or you can Skype beagle.radio881, have a talk to someone and place your request. We'll be back in a moment.
That's fun.
Hi, this is Beagle, beagleradio.co.nz and 88.1 FM. You're here with Wayne and Brett on Life Skills Patrol, and we have Gwendolyn Needham. She's the Director of Highwise Leadership and Yap for You. Gwendolyn, how are you this evening?
I'm just fine, thank you, Wayne.
Oh, fantastic. So, Gwendolyn, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
Well, I help people have a great life. It's exactly what I give. I motivate, inspire, and empower people and help them develop their human abilities so that they can reach their potential. And that sounds like a big deal, but the practicalities of it are very real. I've become an author of quite a few books, and I teach workshops and seminars. So I just enjoy bringing the best out of people.
And I know you're very, very good at it. How did you get to do what it is how did you get to do this?
Well, that's interesting because I really am surprised to find that I have published 5 books. I didn't set out to publish books a way back, but as I progressed with doing some work with people, it became obvious that there was a real rapport and I was helping them in lots of ways. So I said to myself, right, better write a book. So I actually wrote my first book as I was driving between Auckland and Towai, where we lived on the farm. I was commuting to Auckland at that stage, and I was thinking about all the chapters in that book. And when I got home, I would say to my husband, right, don't interrupt me for a while, I just need to get all this down on my book. So that's how I wrote my first book. It was sort of a response to need.
And what was it about?
Well, my first book was called High Roads, Keys to Personal Power and Business Success. Along the way, I'd done some training after I'd been a farmer's wife and brought up children. I actually, to my surprise, trained theologically and became a priest in the Anglican Church. And that was a change agent because women were not made priests in the Anglican Church way back, and this was new, but it's actually about 30 odd years ago now. So I got into that role, and what that role allowed me to do, because my first career, I'm a registered nurse, I'm really interested in what makes people tick, what makes them find meaning and purpose and have a great life. And my role as a priest, taking funerals and weddings and baptizing and being the people's person, just fed me there. And as a result of that, I ended up doing what I've done, writing books all about get in charge of your life, get power in your own life, and I show people how to do that.
And I've heard you speak to groups before, and you're a great believer that there is a seed in everyone.
That's right. I believe that everyone is born to have a great life. And the fact that many, many people do not have a great life doesn't mean that they were born to have a great life. The circumstances they were born into, and no one planted into those people that seed of belief that, hey, you were born to be richly blessed, you were born to have enough of everything, good health, relationships, enough money. And that is the basic thing I tell people, no matter where they are. Hey, you can have a great life. You've just got to do some learning.
And it strikes me that that's kind of what you're all about. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but from my perspective, what I see is someone who finds that seed, nurtures that seed, waters it, feeds that seed, and shows the person how they can find some belief. And then once the person's there, boy, they just take off and find their own answers. Is that kind of how it works?
That's a pretty good summary, Wayne, but you know, we've got to plant the seed, that seed of hope, into people's hearts. And so many live lives of, well, quiet desperation or real unhappiness and believe that, you know, there's nothing good that's going to happen to them. I totally do not believe that. Anyone, no matter where they are and at what stage, they can actually turn their lives around if they want to. You know, no one can make anyone do anything, but we can plant a seed. And when we wake up that, hey, I really would like to have a great life, that's when the learning process starts. It's exciting.
You do make it exciting. You've written some other books. What are the other books?
I have. The next book I wrote was Marriage is for Adults Only, because you've got to be pretty grown up when you get married. And this is a book that helps people well, before they get married, while they're married, but after the marriage fails and they're looking for the answers why. So the first book I wrote was about how to get power in your own life. That's High Road. The second book was about relationships, marriages for adults only. Then I wrote a short book called Success Strategies for Adults Raising Children. You know, out there, being a parent is the most demanding thing, but it's actually the most important thing in our society. And we need, above all else, to plant seeds of truth and goodness and skills and love in those people's hearts. And then my latest book I want to tell you about is, it's called Dear Young Adults of the World, New Zealand edition. And do you know why I wrote that? My husband and I have actually got, well, we've got 3 children, but those 3 children have given us 12 grandchildren.
Oh my goodness.
And yes,
Yikes.
it's amazing, isn't it? 2 families of 5 and 1 family of 2. So we've got 12 healthy, normal grandkids. And a few years ago, they were growing up, leaving home, leaving the nest, flying out there. Some of them flying high, 1 or 2 of them kicking their heels a bit and hanging around a bit and not doing so well. And I decided, hey, it's time you wrote something for your grandkids. And when I got started on doing that, which was really for my 12 grandchildren, I suddenly thought, hey, they're no different than any other grandkids. They're no different than the rest of New Zealanders or the rest of young people in the world. So that's when I called it Dear Young Adult New Zealanders. And that has become a whole project called YAP, YAP for You. And YAP for You means YAPP is Young Adult Power Project for You. So the book has become the flagship and the basic book of a whole lot of workshops that are available for, well, senior high schools, but for training organisations for when young people leave school, get out into the workforce, and helping them become the best human person they could. So that's about where I'm putting just about all my energy at the moment, marketing that into a huge need out there in New Zealand.
It is a huge need, and I've had a look at this material, and it is rock solid common sense. Some of it might not be what people want to read or want to do or want to see. Nonetheless, it's relevant, and there are a lot of answers in your materials.
I don't mean to just randomly butt in. I've been there the whole time. Hello.
This is Brett, Gwendolyn.
Hi. Yeah, I'm a young adult. I think
I agree.
I think that's a really cool resource to have. I mean, I haven't seen your book or anything, but you know, there's a lot of stuff that you don't get taught in school, and I think it's a good mission to try and get these lessons into people as early as possible. You know, so
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, you know, no matter where you are in the game of life, you can do better. You know, you can pull yourself up, you can move up. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But you've got to want to. But when we plant the seed in people's hearts and minds and spirits, all sorts of wonderful good things can come of it.
Well, I
And the
think
book has just been entered into a big national contest, a competition.
oh, good luck.
To do with body, mind and spirit. So I'm excited to see how that is going to be judged. And that'll be announced in a month or 2.
So Gwendolyn, talking about planting the seed, are there steps to that? How does the whole thing work? So someone's struggling, they're having issues, you come along and you tell them, you know, this is nonsense, we can fix this. How does it work?
Well, it works. You know, Wayne, I believe in group work. I love groups of people together. And while I do one-to-one counselling, and that can be very fruitful, Do you know, by and large, every person is grappling with something or other. And when you're in a group, what happens then is that people learn from other people in the group, and they learn that, hey, we're all the same really, and they learn that they're not the only one. So that group work is something that I'm really, really keen about. But, you know, I just start at the beginning and talk about where they are in the game of life and talk about the fact that they've got a spirit inside them. And in that spirit, that is where the little life force is planted into. Many people don't know that they've got a spirit, but, you know, we've got a heart, mind, body and spirit. All of us are holistic human beings. And today's society is running so fast and in so many directions that I'm proudly and loudly claiming we need to develop the human in us, the human in every person. And that's where we get our rewards, that's where we learn to communicate, where we learn to love and be loved, where we learn to be good citizens, good human beings, good citizens of the world too. You can hear I'm quite excited about it.
I know you are, and you're a powerhouse. You're a strength to be, you know, you're a strength to behold. I saw a recent quote from the Dalai Lama. Now, I might not get this absolutely right, but he said something along the lines of, people are to be loved and things used. The reason the world is in chaos is because things are loved and people are being used.
Yeah, I believe that. We've got to wake up the human, that human person that is a rich person waiting to be enriched and waiting to blossom, waiting to be their best person. I get a real buzz out of seeing people blossom. And right now, I'm just doing publicity for this whole project. I'm really ambitious about it. I want it to be New Zealand-wide. I'm going to be doing marketing and publicity, and I'm available to come and speak to any groups that are interested in looking at ways in which we can help our young people, because there is dire needs out there, and I believe there are answers. It's about that human person. So if you know groups of people that would like a good speaker to come along and inspire them and empower them, you know, call me up.
So something that I thought was, that I was just thinking about, is that generally if somebody goes to you or goes to one of your books to seek help, I think, you know, we're talking about planting the seed and stuff, but I feel like if somebody comes to you, they've probably already begun the process themselves, right? Because they've already opened themselves up by looking for help, right?
That's right, the first thing, yep.
What I'm wondering is, what do you do about people who haven't come out to you or haven't made that first step by themselves to be open?
Do you know, this is a bit funny, but there are three things in life that are impossible. One is to kiss a girl that's leaning away from you. Two is to climb a fence that's leaning towards you. And three is to help someone that does not want to be helped.
Sure.
Okay?
That makes a lot of sense.
Unless people are reaching out or saying, hey, teach me, you know, this is why a lot of things fail. They're forced to do some sort of learning that they don't want to do, and the presenter or the workshop presenter doesn't have the skills to get right inside that person very quickly and plant that little seed and wake them up to what they could really be. I've actually got to be quite good at that, so I know that that's the first step. Unless someone wants to be helped, unless you've painted that vision of that wonderful, exciting life, and they're sort of saying, hey, I'd like a bit of that, and yeah, I really would like that. Now, that's the moment when you can start to, when they can start to learn.
Yeah, Brett, I think Gwendolyn's right. You can't kiss a girl who's leaning away from you.
That's true.
Hey Gwendolyn, like this is really good stuff. So if someone wants to learn more, how can they touch base with you? How can they engage with you?
Well, my phone number, my email address, my website. Do you want me to give you those, Wayne? Or
Yep, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, I live in Whangarei. My phone number is 09 4377 183. My email address, and it means something, it's be free. Now that's what I do. I teach people to be free. So my email address is be.free, F-R-E-E, @extra.co.nz. Get that one? Be free
Yep.
at Extra.
Be free at Extra. Yep.
Yeah, and then my website, I've got two websites. One is Yap for You, YAPP, numeral 4, letter U, .co.nz. So that's yapforyou.co.nz. And the other one is that tells you a lot about my books and my background and a whole lot of stuff, is called Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn.co.nz.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because I am my brand. I am my message.
Yeah, no
I
need
am
to get
the
complicated.
force behind it. So we've got two websites, an email address, and a phone number.
I love the Gwendolyn.co.nz. That's awesome. I never knew about that one before.
Yeah, well, you can look it up right now, and you'll see my lovely website. Yeah, it's all out there.
Cool. Hey, that's great. Look, Gwendolyn, really appreciate you joining us on the show. Is there anything else you'd like to get across just before we finish up?
Well, my business Highwise is called Highwise because it means if you want to fly high, you need to get wise. So within everything that I'm doing and teaching and writing, it's about becoming a wise person inside, you know? If you want to fly high, you need to get wise. And the other thing is, don't go to your grave with your best song yet unsung. And your best song is your best life. And hey, a lot of people are sort of still waiting to do their best stuff, but that's my message to myself. Don't go to your grave, Gwendolyn, with your best song yet unsung. And my best song is to touch the hearts and the minds and the spirits of our wonderful young people and enrich our wonderful country, New Zealand. We are richly blessed.
And your message is powerful and you deliver it with great gusto. I'm always in awe of it. So,
Thank
hey,
you.
thank you, Gwendolyn. That's cool. I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Yes.
You're with Life Skills Patrol on beagleradio.co.nz.
And greetings to all the listeners. It's wonderful to know that you're out there and that you're interested in life skills and you're into positive, wonderful stuff to enrich your lives and the lives of other people. God bless.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gwendolyn. Don't go away. We'll chat
All right.
off air.
Yes.